What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back to another Four Corners video for today's 7-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. When I last left you guys, we had all the teams available on the slate for the most part, and unfortunately, no double dongs were hit, so let's get back on track. There's a lot of big Vegas totals today, so we should see some decent run production. So right now, if you want to win a free month of an Osmo Plus membership, like this video and comment your double dong pick down below. If you guess a guy correctly who hits 2 home runs today, you'll win a free month of an Osmo Plus membership. So right now, like the video and comment your double dong pick for your chance to win. But for now, on to our first corner on today's slate, the top pitchers, and Eduardo Rodriguez versus the White Sox should be the top owned option industry-wide. Gets 3.8 implied runs against him. He's expected to be the number 1 owned pitcher on DraftKings with 43%, FanDuel with 30%, and Yahoo with 50%. The White Sox's projected lineup brings a 26.2% K rate, while Erod's strikeout stuff is solid enough at 9.7 Ks per 9 and a 12% swing strike rate that you can overlook the high 9.6 hits per 9 he's allowed so far this year. The top 3 for the White Sox of Lurie Garcia, Tim Anderson, and Jose Abreu could be interesting as leverage bats. I'm still more willing to have more Erod than not. I think it's a good strikeout spot for him overall, and I think the fact that he's priced reasonably makes him more okay to go with today on a slate, which we're going to have some really questionable pitching at high ownership. And Drew Pomeranz versus Colorado is one of those pitchers I find questionable today. Pomeranz gets 3.8 implied runs against him, and he's going to be the number 2 owned on all sites with 44% on Yahoo, 36% on DraftKings, and 19% on FanDuel. Colorado in a pitcher-friendly park with a 24.5% K rate in their projected lineup versus left-hand pitching seems somewhat appealing, given that Pomeranz has 10 Ks per 9 at a value price. But the 1.8 whip that Pomeranz offers makes Colorado interesting to me as leverage. Pomeranz definitely has tournament strikeout upside, but he gives up enough production that I'm more inclined to go away from him. I think having some ownership is fine, but I'll probably go into the field here and also try to get some Colorado leverage bats in the mix. And Steven Matz at Philadelphia should also find some ownership today with 5.4 implied runs against him. Matz will be solidly owned mostly on the SP2 sites with his value pricing and also the fact that he has 9 Ks per 9 so far in the year. Philly is mediocre at best versus left-handed pitching with a 97 WRC+, but with an under-league average 20.9% K rate, it seems like an iffy spot to target Matz at high ownership. I could see wanting some Matz exposure because Philly's stack will also be decently highly owned, and that makes Matz an interesting leverage play if he does get that big strikeout upside today. But he's not a guy I'm crazy about, and I'm also willing to go into the field on him and try to find some value elsewhere. On to our next corner, the top stacks on the slate, and a Cubs stack going against Julio Teheran should be a popular option today. The Cubs get 6.2 implied runs for them, and the 14-mile-per-hour wind blowing out at Wrigley means a decent opportunity with Teheran's 40% hard contact and 39% fly ball rate. Kyle Schwarber projects to be the slate's highest owned player with between 37 and 55% ownership across all the sites, and it makes sense given that Teheran's 1.5 whip to lefties is a pretty notable one, but fading Schwarber could immediately differentiate some highly owned Chicago stacks. The spot here does look pretty decent for the Cubs, but they're going to be so highly owned, it might make sense to try to find some more stacks elsewhere. I think having some exposure, maybe coming close to the field makes sense, but when a guy like Kyle Schwarber is going to be 50% owned on the slate, you're in for a tough day where you're going to be really with the field if you are rostering a lot of Cubs. A Yankee stack versus Aaron Sanchez also looks interesting with 6.6 implied runs for them, which is a slate high. According to our top stacks tool at Osmo.com, the Yankees have a 17.3% chance of being the top stack on the day, while they only have 9.1% aggregate ownership so far. Sanchez hasn't allowed big home run power with an under-league average 2.7% rate going back to last year, but with every Yankees hitter besides DJ LeMahieu over a 102 WRC+ versus right-hand pitching, it's a spot to stack a variety of ways. With so many quality hitters in that Yankees lineup, right now they have Gleyber Torres projected hitting the 9-hole. You can stack them up in a variety of ways, mini stacks or one-offs, and hope to capture that production in a way that differentiates from the chalk Yankees exposure. And an Atlanta stack versus John Lester also just me with 5.3 implied runs for them. Lester's 10 hits per 9 and 42% hard contact allowed are a bad combo for this windy day at Wrigley Field. The Atlanta lefties are in a nice spot with Lester's 1.5 whip compared to a 1.27 whip allowed to righties, while the entire lineup for Atlanta brings power with only Nick Markakis and Dansby Swanson under a 215 ISO versus left-hand pitching. The Braves are a team I often like a lot. The fact they're getting that same win benefit in Wrigley without as much ownership as the Cubs are going to have makes them an interesting spot to go against, especially since I consider Lester to be a worse pitcher than Julio Teheran is. On to our next corner, the lower owned options on today's slate, and John Gray going against San Francisco is one of those pitchers I like today. Gray gets 3.7 implied runs against him, which is a slate low, and he projects for some ownership but less than the other top pitchers despite a game in a pitcher's park, with San Francisco's projected lineup bringing a 27.5% K rate versus right-hand pitching. Gray has racked up 9.7 Ks per 9 with a 3.8 xFIP, and it seems like a low-risk spot for him with only Brandon Belt and Alex Dickerson as concerning lefty bats with a 1.4 whip and 4% home run rate that Gray allows to that side of the plate. Gray's at a decent price with decent ownership, and I think a spot for him, especially on a day in which we're going to see a chalk Drew Pomeranz, I think it's a nice time to go to Gray in a much better matchup. An Arizona stack versus Clayton Kershaw also interests me a bit with 4 implied runs for them, which admittedly is fairly low. Kershaw's 1.05 whip and 3.5 xFIP are strong, but Arizona's under the radar as a top hitting team versus left-hand pitching with a 121 WRC+ and a 290 batting average versus lefties so far this year. There's no ownership at all expected for Arizona, and that means it won't take much to get above the field on them, despite the fact that they have 7 hitters, including Zach Greinke over a 283 batting average versus left-hand pitching in Arizona's projected lineup. Kershaw's been a solid pitcher on the year, even though the strikeouts haven't been there for him. I think this Arizona team hits so well versus lefties, and it's completely under the radar. The fact they're going to have no ownership at all today makes me interested in them, especially if you are going to get some leverage on the Kershaw ownership. And a Mets stack versus Zach Eflin also looks a bit interesting today with 4.6 implied runs for them. Eflin allows a 1.5 whip and 9.7 hits per 9 to lefty hitters, with decent hitting lefties also atop the Mets projected lineup. Robinson Cano's cheap pricing will make him a popular play, but a mini stack featuring lower-owned Jeff McNeil or Michael Conforto could provide some value and upside given Eflin's lefty struggles. On a slate in which you have to try to look elsewhere to find value for not taking the chalk cheap pitchers, I think the Mets stack could be one way to accomplish that. And given all the chalk pitching out there that we've discussed, CC Sabathia versus Toronto interests me a bit with 3.9 implied runs against him. Toronto's sneaky 181 ISO versus left-hand pitching has blown up better pitchers like Chris Sale recently, but the low Vegas total and 24.5% K rate in Toronto's projected lineup makes CC vaguely interesting to me. A Toronto stack is also not a play for tournaments, with chalk pitching capable of bad days. CC could be an interesting pivot when paired with leverage bats going against a guy like Pomerantz or Matz. CC isn't a great pitcher, but with a low Vegas total and Toronto not hitting as great away from home, I think it's a decent spot to go to him with so much chalk pitching here that's capable of blowing up. Now into our last corner, the one-offs, and Nolan Arenado versus Drew Pomerantz is one to interest me. Arenado splits versus left-hand pitcher among the best in the league with a 356 batting average, 368 ISO, and a 187 WRC+, while Pomerantz gives up more to righty bats with a 6.3 xFIP and 11.4 hits per 9 allowed. Now, given Pomerantz's price and strikeout upside, he's worth having some exposure, but in lineups in which I don't have Pomerantz, I think trying to get leverage with some of these Colorado bats is a good move, and Arenado seems like the best one of them to me. And Kyle Schwarber versus Julio Teheran is a one-off who has to be the mix for you today. Even though there's logic in fading him due to his ownership, Schwarber is still extremely well priced for a power hitter with a 253 ISO in the leadoff spot, going against the 39.4% hard contact that Teheran allows to lefties. In stacks, I'll probably have a bit less Schwarber because, again, that's going to immediately differentiate a Cub stack for you. But I think as a one-off play, Schwarber's as good as any because that value pricing there in a leadoff spot is a really strong situation for him today. And Aaron Hicks versus Aaron Sanchez also interests me as a value one-off today. Hicks will be an almost unowned part of Yankee stacks, despite Sanchez allowing a 1.8 whip and 5.4 xFIP to lefty bats, while Hicks, despite a mediocre 2019, has a 201 ISO and a 123 WRC+ versus right-hand pitching. There won't be a lot of people on Hicks today based on the ownership projections we have right now at Osmo.com, so I think the spot could be a good one for him as a really nice value play overall. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on today's slate. So right now, if you want to win that free month of an Osmo Plus membership, like this video and comment your pick for a double dong today, the guy you think is going to hit 2 home runs today. Nobody got it right on Friday because nobody did it in the league on Friday, but today's the chance we're going to get it back on track. So right now, like the video and comment your double dong pick for your chance to win that free month of an Osmo Plus membership. And if you don't want to wait for the freebies, use that promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month or week of any Osmo Plus membership. Get all the ownership projections, the rankings, the deep dive column, the top stacks tool, the lineup builder, a lot of things that I reference in this video that we use every single day to make lineups. They're all going to help you make better MLB DFS lineups every single day. So use that promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month or week of an Osmo Plus membership. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags, because that adds value to my life and you can make me smile by doing that right now. So go on any of those platforms, check me out, go follow me. I appreciate the support a ton. I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video. So thank you guys for watching. And of course, good luck.